seconds here.
And then 9 months later, that's how you get a baby.
Exactly.
Oh, shit, we're live.
And welcome, everyone. My name is Amos Joseph, joined by my co-host, Brook Potter, and this is the 10K Rum Podcast. How's it going, Brook?
Oh, Amos, I'm so glad to see that you survived all of these raging Clinton suicides that are taking place in the U.S. I was worried about you for a minute there.
No. No. I have no information on the Clintons, okay? No information. I have nothing on them. I don't know what you're talking about.
Oh, of course not. Of course not.
I wasn't even in the country when the Clintons were president.
Oh, okay. Well, it didn't seem to stop a lot of other people having problems. So we shall see. We shall see. Were you on like a specific island? Maybe were you? I don't know.
I was not here.
But other than that, I'm doing well. I'm actually going to start doing a couple streams of people in the area here, just because everybody who's been listening to the podcast out here really likes what we're doing, and they're not really of huge note, but they want to kind of be involved and stuff like that. So hopefully through those streams, we'll also promote, of course, this podcast. We'll get a couple more viewers. So yeah, it's going to be an exciting few weeks for us.
Groupies,
man. Groupies. Yeah. Which is weird. Gets me a free drink once in a while, but
Yeah, I do a podcast. Yeah, really? Well, how many people listen?
10.
Couple dozen of a good one.
I mean, just being real, you use the podcast to meet some chicks, though. I mean, yeah.
I don't know what you're talking about.
It's not part of that Clinton suicide thing, is it? I'm just.
Yeah, I call in favors with the Clintons, of course. But
what's going on your side? What's happening with you?
Nothing much. Coming on I think I told you. Well, about the 2 full weeks that I was working, and
yes,
yeah, and so this week has been pretty laid back. Got Thursday and then Saturday, Sunday off. Got a whole bunch of time off and did a lot of just resting and recovering, and hopefully enough to get me back to work. So, but yeah, nothing too tens of tens. What's that? Oh, what Brian
who's listening is instead of thousands and thousands, we got tens of tens listening to us.
Exactly. But yeah, I mean, there's not too much going on. I know we got a lot of stuff we want to get into. That's for sure. Definitely. Surprised how much stuff can happen since Thursday.
I know. It was probably a very good idea to do another show, and I mean, I hope we could keep it up. I think the news cycle is starting to get spicy, so we shall see.
It definitely is now. So since we brought up the Clintons, I don't want to get too much into that too deeply, at least.
Yeah, you don't want to let them know how much you know. So just for your well-being.
Everyone's talking about it though. So everyone knows about Epstein suicide, where he was in jail, and there's a lot of theories around it, and there's a lot of stuff that was just kind of thrown together, I think, with a lot of misinformation, like different pieces of information that were true at different times. All kind of got wound into this web of like this somehow very intriguing theory that somehow he was on suicide watch and his camera malfunctioned and then he died, and then there was apparent suicide, but there was no foul play. Like, I don't see anything about, like, because they said he apparently hung himself, but they didn't find anything that he hung himself with.
Right, so he hung himself with 2 bullet holes to the back of his head, is something like that?
We don't really know. I mean, the articles that I read on like sort of the initial facts didn't really go into much. They just said there was no sign of foul play. He possibly hung himself, and there's going to be a full investigation because of all the conspiracy theories around it and how weird the circumstances were.
Yeah. I mean, I wasn't really following it. Like, I have a friend on Facebook, and he posts. When this news broke, he got really into it and stuff like that. We've known about the pedophile thing in the realms of power for years. I mean, we've heard about that going back to Corey something back in the 80s. He was a child actor. And Feldman. He actually, Feldman, that's it. And he actually spoke about it openly in the late 80s, early 90s. Nothing happened. And now it's kind of coming out.
Yeah, the thing that makes it, I think, so unprecedented now is that, you know, you actually have someone that was going to stand trial, testify, and basically expose a lot more people involved in these supposed, you know, child molestation rings, basically.
Correct.
And, you know, with who Epstein was hanging out with, like the Clintons, Trump, and a whole bunch of other people, you can pretty much bet that, you know, someone big with a big name was going to get exposed. And, you know, for it to be so conveniently happening that he killed himself the day before he was going to go and testify,
Yes.
it's kind of weird. So,
to say the least.
So a couple things that I wanted to kind of dispel out there, and this is just from what I read. People are going to believe whatever.
It's still early days, yeah.
But this is from what I read. Was the whole the whole suicide watch thing? They said, okay, so he was on suicide watch, and, you know, people were watching him, and there were cameras on him, and the cameras malfunctioned, and he somehow died. The suicide watch thing is true, but not when it happened. He was on suicide watch last month. Right. And through regular meetings with a psychologist, he had been taken off suicide watch. But I've heard, you know, if people really want to kill themselves, they might just do whatever they want to do to get off suicide watch so they can kill themselves. So there is that.
Sure.
And the whole camera malfunction thing, we don't really know anything about that. You know,
it's very convenient.
It's convenient, but I mean, it's, you know, there's going to be an investigation. We'll see what actually comes of it. You know, if it's just going to, you know, spiral into a whole nother, you know, conspiracy theory, and then probably die out in a few months. And then another case is going to come along of some other guy, you know. All that I see in it is, you know, yeah, maybe. I look at it the same way I look at 9/11 conspiracy theories.
Sure.
It's interesting to think about. I wouldn't be surprised if any of it is true, but I don't know if any of it is true because it hasn't been investigated and verified. So I'm not going to hold any strong stance on whether it is or isn't.
Oh, I agree. And it's still too early for us to really draw any kind of conclusions from what's happened. But, you know, the one thing I will say about this whole incident, I mean, it's become a meme, as you know.
The memes are amazing, though.
The memes are great, right? That everyday people are kind of looking at this like, it's almost kind of red pilling a lot of people, like, oh yeah, this is the elite just playing their elite games. You know, you fucked up and, you know, you got to go. Even what's his name, Sticks and Hammer, 666, yeah, he did a commentary on it, and he's saying, okay, it's not really the Clintons, probably, but it's probably somebody in Hollywood, somebody well connected, somebody who was friends with him, and I kind of wrote out a dossier of what he figures was responsible for it. So, and one of the things I think even Tim Pool mentioned when he talked to some of his reporter friends when talking about Epstein, and he'd asked them, do you think he's going to stand trial? And nobody believed he was ever going to make it to the courtroom. Like, nobody. They all figured something was going to happen along the way. And the fact that something did happen, yeah, it doesn't speak well for...
It's concerning on itself. Yeah,
exactly.
I mean, it's almost like in movies where you know, you got a couple of cops. Well, okay, so I just watched the movie Rush Hour for...
you're fresh off Rush Hour.
No. I watched it again. I've seen it before, but it was like, you know, it's such an old. It's an old movie now.
Yes.
And the whole thing was, you know, they're finding some guy who kidnapped this little girl, and there's this like criminal who's got this name, this sort of alias, this if you want to call a moniker that he goes by, and every time they mention a name, it's always like this. It's almost like Voldemort. It's like he's everywhere and he's nowhere kind of thing.
Yes.
And then they come to L.A., you know, which is where Chris Tucker and Jackie Chan meet up, and they're asking like locals, like, have you heard of this name? So they mention a name of this villain, and they're like, yeah, I never heard of him. And they're
Right.
like, no, you've heard of him. He goes, we've never seen him. We don't know anything about him. That's all I'm saying. I'm already in enough trouble just telling you he exists, kind of thing.
Right. Right.
And then they find out it's like there's like a conspiracy within criminals. It's just kind of the same thing. It's like when you hear like, it's always like some like big name individual, politically, financially, or even just in social status connected, that's like behind something and somehow connected to some of the worst people like in the underground somehow.
Right. Right.
It fits that type of structure. Now, is it exactly that way? No, but it sounds so much like that. It's like, people, I mean, reporters just know, yeah, if you got something that's possibly in the Clintons, you're probably not going to make it to court. It's like, it's just known. It's the fact that that's known is like, yeah.
And didn't President Trump put out something like obviously his tweet? Did he say anything? I was hearing something about that. I'm not sure.
He retweeted some people apparently that were kind of hinting at the conspiracy.
Right. Okay.
But I mean, people want to sit there and joke, 4D chess or whatever. It's like, for all we know, it's 4D chess with both sides involved.
Right.
Because if Trump is even remotely, connected with Epstein and the Clintons are, and with Trump's previous, being a billionaire and being so influential as a person, we don't freaking know.
I mean, it didn't appear that way because he wasn't really moving in the circles of politics and entertainment as much as some other people.
But I mean, you don't know what these, if these kinds of people, what kind of connections they could have, not just in politics.
Sure. I get that. And I mean, the rich and the powerful all kind of have each other in their Rolodex. Well, nobody fucking has a Rolodex anymore, but you get my point. But I mean, it's not the same as Bill Clinton, who's been on his plane and like very chummy, right? I don't think there are any pictures of Epstein and Trump, to the best of my knowledge.
There are.
They knew each other at social events, but they weren't. It wasn't like as chummy as it was with Clinton. Like there's a lot of stuff with him and Clinton.
There's a lot of places you can go where you're not seen though, too.
Yeah, and just meeting somebody doesn't mean you're involved in something. I mean, I've met politicians before. Some of them turned out to be very unscrupulous, and I took photos with them. And it's not that I'm involved in anything. At least I hope not. But yeah, I totally get it. But I think the Democrats had a lot more to lose from Epstein than the Republicans. There probably are some high-ranking Republicans, tied in with all this shit. But I think it would have done a bigger blow on the left because it went into Hollywood, and Hollywood is so left, it's ridiculous.
Yeah, and that's why I kind of think like it's all probably tied together in some way. And
we'll see.
How are you ever going to get someone to talk about any of that?
I mean, they do have the testimony. Where I'm going to assume he's named names and probably a couple other things.
There were some documents. There were some court documents that were unsealed. Apparently, 2,000 pages worth of documents that were going to be reviewed as a part of this court case. But since he's dead, the documents were unsealed anyway. So now they're public. They're in public record. So people are going to start looking through that and start drawing on even more conspiracy theories. I bet.
I mean, people love their conspiracy theories, right? I mean, Alex Jones must be just happy as a pig in shit at this point.
Well, I mean, the conspiracy theory, just as a general, like the way that type of knowledge, how it makes people feel, how they feel when they feel they know something.
Yes.
I mean, it's not just in conspiracy theories in like politics or day-to-day society, things with social things. Like you and I both know full well there's like there's conspiracy theory like types of like knowledge among Christians.
Sure.
On both the fundamentalist types, the really hardcore types, and then even in some of the circles we were with when we were kind of post, religious kind of Christians, we still had like, there were still people that were like thinking there was like a conspiracy. I mean, us learning about the things we were learning, and somehow other people didn't know. It could be very easy to think, oh, there's a conspiracy against what we know, you know.
Sure. I completely get that. And let's just be real. People love a conspiracy, right? I mean, that is the reason the character of Alex Jones became as popular as he did.
Yeah.
It's the flat earth. It's the 9/11 truthers. It's, Obama's birth certificate. And
It's the gay frogs, man.
turning the frogs gay, I mean, yeah, all of that stuff. And again, you can, I'm not a 9/11 truther, right? I know people who worked in those buildings. I knew people who worked at the Pentagon. They saw what happened, and basically everybody kind of witnessed it, right? And to go back and look at the footage and stuff like that, it's not very honestly depicted. Like, they all talk about Building 7. Well, what happened to Building 7 and stuff? But you didn't realize that half of Building 7 was missing by the time you actually get the image of it collapsing, right? But they completely skip over that whole thing.
And then there's talk about one of the planes that crashed in the field.
Yeah.
How the debris scattered pretty far.
Yeah.
For a plane that ran into the ground.
Yeah.
So that was a bit odd too, like indicating that it was possibly shot down.
And I mean, that I could understand. That's possible. I don't necessarily dispute, because I think the military probably was scrambled at that point to ground the last plane. But I mean, yeah, the events and stuff like that. If that was a huge conspiracy, just being honest, any kind of huge conspiracy, and you expect the government to keep a secret like that, get fucking real.
So here's what I'm not going to, I'm 9/11 truther, but that's kind of what I was saying in the beginning is I can see the questions being asked and understand that there are valid questions and justifiably needed to be asked. Do I believe them any of those 100% with the conclusions that people draw from? No. But I would at least say the official narrative of 9/11 isn't entirely accurate.
Probably not.
I would go that far.
Yeah,
now, to go and say what exactly is inaccurate and what was actually happening, I'm not going to go that far. I would just say, yeah, it probably didn't happen exactly the way we thought it happened.
Possibly. I mean, what was? I mean, I was actually on that flight, the Los Angeles DC flight, 1 week before it happened, and I remember telling my sister that time, like, I've got this very weird feeling, like something's gonna happen. I don't know what's going on, and I was back in Trinidad at the time when it happened and stuff like that. But yeah, I mean, we're never gonna know the full extent of everything.
Yeah,
I think it's pretty obvious, like the big things. And to bring it back to Epstein. Yeah, there's a lot that we are not going to know. I know a lot of people were excited with the idea of, bringing down all of these, people of industries and power and in big tech and Hollywood and all that kind of stuff. Like, that would have really been draining the swamp. And hopefully Trump kind of sticks to it. I think, I really hope something comes of what has happened, and it'll be good for the American people, I think, at the end of the day.
Yeah. I mean, another quick thing. I think I told you this. My aunt, the one you met, she was at the World Trade Center.
Yeah.
A week before it happened.
Yeah. I think we might have discussed that briefly when I
she showed me a picture. It was like her in some, like, there was like a little, like a backdrop showing, like, World Trade Center, and then it's her and some like friends she had at the time, and she's like doing dorky tourist stuff, takes a picture. She goes, that was taken a week before it happened. And I'm like,
yeah, what? I was on, that what was it, United Airlines Flight 7 or something like that. And yeah, it happens, man. I mean speaking of events that have kind of developed, have you seen that our two elusive shooters have kind of both turned out to be very left-wing? Like,
I thought one of them was right wing and one of them was left wing.
Well, this is where the confusion starts. Apparently, they kind of both were left wing. They were both kind of socialist and supporting Elizabeth Warren and all this other stuff. It's just that one had the kind of the white nationalist implication. Politics seems to be kind of leaning to the left. So it's, I mean, how do you really distinguish that? Race identity is not necessarily left or right kind of thing. It's just kind of labeled as right. But yeah, I mean, the more of those, I think his profile has been removed from Twitter and everything else, is everybody's trying to cover up everything. But I think I think they've kind of both kind of been shown to be supporters of Antifa and all this other kind of nonsense. So that's an interesting twist. That's why it pays to wait, you know?
Yeah. It's what was it? There was an interview they did with Denzel Washington when he was talking about the news, and he was like, "It's not about who's right, but who's first
Fair enough.
reporting the news." And I'm
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
"Yep."
I mean, it's like you have a news cycle, you got to fill, especially now with 24-hour day news, and you're in competition with everybody else. Yeah, you've got to jump the gun sometimes. You know,
I mean, I remember so there was the article. I think I told you about this. France with the yellow vest protests.
yes,
When this, so not the initial, not when it first happened, but what was going to happen. It was like 3 months after it had been continuing. So on the weekends they would do the protests. Um, there was the French president Macron was basically enacting counterterrorism initiatives
yes,
to basically bring in like military
yeah,
to basically shut down these protests. This is all being reported in European news. Like pretty much the day it was initiated, this initiative was going to be, in preparation for the weekend coming.
yeah,
No American news have been talking about it. So
yeah,
I had a connection with someone in France through Twitter. I looked it up, did a quick thing, but I mean, I was more in the mindset of we got to break this, like get this on to Being Libertarians news site there.
right.
And we were one of the first to actually, like the first, I guess, American news sites, based in the US that actually got it out there. Granted, it's still not we're not a large website, but it was just
Sure.
even myself who would see this as, oh, we got to get all the facts. It's like I'm just jumping to anything. Just pull some information, try to piece it all together, and remaining objective and trying not to put in any
Too much spin.
too much spin. But I mean, it was still kind of like, hey, there are these protests, they've still been going on. No one's really been hearing about them, but now they've gotten pretty, I kind of skipped. I honestly, I kind of skipped over maybe a couple little things that I just didn't see. I was just like,
Sure.
military protest, human rights violation. Just throw it out there.
No, and you're quite right. I'm not sure if the yellow vest protest is still going on. Actually, I haven't really been following it. I do know right now Russia, and you're probably not hearing anything about this, but the opposition in Russia is actually protesting in Moscow. Hundreds of thousands of people have come out against Putin and his regime and stuff like that. And I think the Hong Kong protests are still going on, if I'm not mistaken. I'm not too sure. I haven't really followed up on it. Do you know anything?
Hong Kong is. So due to their protesting, I think it forced China to rescind some of the orders they were trying to impose upon Hong Kong, or at least hold back and reconsider. I know our friend Jeff from Asian Capitalist is over there now.
Yeah.
And he's starting to have some
some doubts.
Yeah, because he felt he'd be good there, but then now it's changing so quickly there, and it's like,
Right. We should bring him back on and maybe discuss some live events going on in Hong Kong. That might be interesting.
Yeah, I mean, I'll say this: there's I have a source on a story of something that's going on with in regards to China. It's not like anything like mainstream worthy per se.
Sure.
It's more so just shedding light on just the everyday type of just I guess oppression that China has upon its citizens.
Sure.
Or anyone that could be connected to the citizens. But yeah, it's something because it's a touchy situation at the moment, I can't really go into detail or even write on it, but the person that I'm talking to does want to write about it. So, but yeah, there's still a lot of shit that happens over there.
Oh yeah. I mean, and China's getting in a bad way, right? I mean, Trump has basically got their nuts in a vice with the tariffs. They've gone out and devalued the currency to try and offset it. That's fucking up the local economy. It's not great. It's not great what's going on across there. And the amount of debt that they're carrying, the corporate debt, will make the 2008 financial crisis, look like a bubble bath. It's actually quite scary what's going on in China.
I just couldn't help but think about what you're saying, having nuts in a vice. I'm like, there's some weird people in China.
I'm sure like anything you want out there,
That communism, man. I mean, you just get so into that oppression, you might as well have your nuts in a vice and enjoy it.
Yeah.
But let's move to a lighter topic. Jeez.
What are we discussing? Minecraft? Are you doing Minecraft?
Yeah. Well, yeah, you were telling me about it. You sent me a picture of you watching some Minecraft videos, and I was like, oh shit, Minecraft has made it to you too.
Yeah, I mean, I used to watch back in the day. I used to watch what the heck was it called?
Yogcast.
The Yogscast. Yeah. So and that was always very funny. It was two British guys in Bristol, and it was hilarious back in the day. And now they've expanded. They've got quite a repertoire and stuff like that. And I used to have that on in the background, kind of like how some people put on music, and I'd be doing other things, right? And then I noticed that Pewdiepie, like one day I was scrolling through and I said, oh, PewDiePie is playing Minecraft. And I was like, oh yeah, that's interesting. He's never played it before. And now it's like had this huge resurgence. Like everybody is now doing.
Well, no, he did Minecraft before.
He said he did it once before.
He did it it was like a small, literally a very, very small series of videos of him kind of going back at it. And then now he's just like, for some reason, he's just like, he's like straight up addicted to it. Yeah, the memes about how addicted he is to it, because so the intro he does is Good Morning Gamers.
Yes.
And then one time someone called it out, like, wait, he says Good Morning Gamers in the beginning of the video, and then at the end of the video he said have a good night. Has PewDiePie been playing all day? Because he does edit down for content. Like
yeah.
One time he so he was there was one where he had to basically like clear out a whole area, and he just fast forwards through it and he goes, yeah, and this took me about an hour, and then this happened, so then it took me in total took me about 4 hours. I'm like, and he's still recording.
Yeah, totally. I went back to watch his series, and Jackcepticeye. I like Jackcepticeye as well.
Irish.
As I say, yeah, just having some noise in the background. It's quite light entertainment. So yeah, I was watching it and it's like, yeah, this is actually pretty funny, And like you say, he's really hooked to it. Like Septiceye was saying, he did a trip recently to the Netherlands, and he got back, and the first thing he wanted to do was to go onto Minecraft and see his dog and his castle and all the shit that he built. And yeah, Minecraft, man. I remember when I was in Kansas, staying with a mutual friend of ours, I introduced his son to Minecraft.
Oh, right. On the Xbox, right?
On the Xbox that they had, because they didn't know what it was. And I was like, oh, this is the stuff that I'd be watching. You should try it. And our mutual friend actually started playing with his son. And there were times he would stay there well into the night playing by himself, right? It's just building shit. And it took his wife to kind of step up and be like, you're supposed to be this, whatever. And this is how you're spending your time on these games and whatever. And he actually had a bit of a problem. And I mean, eventually got sorted out, but it is very addictive.
Yeah, I actually was up last night playing too.
Oh, really?
Well, I was playing. I was on the Discord and I was talking to some people. That group I tell you about, and one of the guys was from Australia, and he's like usually playing like these, like, I guess you could say like higher tier type of games. Like he's playing, shooters and kind of RPG and sci-fi, and just all these games with a lot of very in-depth stories. And then I just hear him like, then I look on Discord, so-and-so is playing Minecraft. So then I hop on and we're both talking, and then he's asking me questions, and I'm talking about things I see on Minecraft.
Yeah.
He's just and he only started playing for like a couple days, and I said, "Why are you playing?" He goes, "Oh, PewDiePie."
Single-handedly revived the entire franchise.
And
Microsoft is going to have a boost in their numbers like never
I mean,
before.
he's straight up telling me, he goes, "Yeah, he goes, now I got this sheep, and I'm naming it, I got water." I mean, he starts using like all the names that PewDiePie's using, water sheep, and I'm like, "You're gonna find a dog? What are you gonna name him? Sven?" And he's like, "No, I'm thinking of another Swedish name, but not the ones he used." I'm like,
yeah. Jurgen, I mean, all this stuff, yeah.
That's and then what's his name? Jackcepticeye now calls the dog Sam.
Sam, yeah.
And then he calls the horse Finbar.
Yes, Finbar.
Is that an Irish name?
Yeah, I'd imagine it is. I don't hold me to that. I don't know very much about Celtic history.
I mean, hell, what am I gonna do in my game? Like, start naming my animals like
Yen?
Yang.
Yang. A black and a white cat, yin and yang.
No, yeah. Or I'll start naming them like super American names, Billy Bob.
What's super American name?
Billy Bob.
Billy.
Billy. Name my horse Billy.
It's crazy. I'm actually quite intrigued by it. Because I'm looking at Microsoft numbers, right, for the trading. And a lot of people have jumped back onto Minecraft as a result of these two guys. Even you messaged me a day like, we should do a Minecraft series.
Never know, man.
I was like, heck, fuck yeah, let's do it, man. I'll do it. I'll join you.
We'll do like an hour a week, and we'll just play and like try out different things.
Just stream it out, man. We'll do the show while playing Minecraft. I think that would be brilliant.
But yeah, I was, because I thought, freaking, PewDiePie plays a game, everyone starts playing it, whatever. But it was Minecraft, I think, is why, because it has a wider appeal to it.
Yes.
I mean, if he's playing like Call of Duty, then it's like, if he's doing whatever he's playing any other type of game. I mean, he pretty much. I think him and Jackcepticeye like played Fortnite a few times,
right, together.
And then now they just now everyone shits on Fortnite because Fortnite pretty much lost the race to being a popular game,
right?
And now Minecraft is like,
it's come back.
Yeah, I mean, they pretty much just like, if you play Fortnite, no, you don't play Fortnite. Just
yeah, no, it's crazy. It's crazy. As I say, I had the early rendition, and I think at some point they gave me back the money, and I lost access to, and I never played it again after that. There was only one pack that I actually enjoyed where you could like build nuclear reactors and
on Minecraft.
Yeah, in Minecraft, it was like an add-on pack that you could get.
Oh, mods, yeah,
like in mods and stuff like that. And there was one where you could literally build a fusion reactor, which is instead of like a circle, it's a giant square because you can't get the circles. And that's what I wanted to do. I just wanted to like play with the tech, and once you do everything, you're kind of done with it, But I'm glad it's making a resurgence. Hopefully, the Yogscast will jump back into it as well. Might be the golden age of Minecraft all over again.
Instead of like PewDiePie has the meatball.
Yes.
I need to make like the American burger, like
the burger patty.
Well, no, you would have like you could like build up like a brown type of thing for a bun, and then build a patty, and then like put another bun on top.
You should do it. Absolutely. You could use a world builder, and you could probably do that. You could probably import one. I think somebody's already built a giant burger somewhere. And I think you could import it into the game or something.
Someone even took PewDiePie's world and improved on it. Like they took a copy of it.
Yeah, I've saw those videos.
Yeah, the meatball, the Atlas meatball.
Yeah, shrugged, and he's holding up the meatball.
It's this really big tower, and then the bigger, like more Swedish styled house.
Yeah. Even the Japanese house
was like way better. Yeah. Someone was like, now that the meme is always look at someone likes Sven's house so much they actually built one in real life, and then they go to a real picture of when PewDiePie went to Japan with his fiance.
Yes.
They were next to a house, and they're like, "Look, they built one in real life because of."
Yeah. Like IKEA is so popular, they built one in real life and goes to an IKEA store.
They because he downloaded the PewDiePie mods. He created the PewDiePie boss that he fought in there.
Oh, I saw that.
Yeah. He says he said PewDiePie was so popular in the game, they made him in real life, and it's a picture.
Yeah. The memes have been excellent, man. The memes have been really, really brilliant.
Yeah, but yeah, I don't know, because I thought like, oh, it's just a fad, like, but as I got into it, I'm like, okay, I'm actually enjoying this for some reason. Like,
I should re-get it. I don't play a lot of games. I'm not, I got shit to do. But I do try at least every year. I get one game. It's usually Civilization if it's a new release, and I will.
Get 6?
Yeah, I got 6.
I heard it sucks.
It's not great, and I even the new expansion. I didn't really take to it, so I haven't played it in quite some time. But I might have to get back into the Minecraft and get that, and I'll play the game for like nonstop, maybe 8-10 hours, and then it's kind of out of my system. I mean, with Minecraft, it's a little difficult because there really isn't an end per se. I mean, you could kill the Ender Dragon, and you could do that kind of stuff. But yeah, I might have to get back into that. It might be a good. I got some time today. I'll see what I can do, man. Set up the server, man. Get some recording software. Let's see what we could do.
Yeah, but yeah, no, it's just amazing how, like, well, I mean, he is the #1 YouTuber, and there's no. I like when he realized that when T-Series beat him in the subscribers, he realized, wait, T-Series is not just some YouTube channel. It's a company's channel, so of course they can have more resources to be able to get more subscribers.
Correct.
He is the #1 YouTuber.
Yeah, he's a content creator. He actually makes, I think almost every day he puts out a video of some kind.
I don't think he's missed a day.
Yeah, he has. He's taken a couple of days off, he said, but I think pretty much every day he's got something coming out.
Even if he's like going on a trip somewhere, he's like putting up a vlog video.
Yeah, he stores like other things in the background and stuff. It's very difficult to, especially now, to be like a gaming or any kind of YouTube channel. I mean, they're struggling. Like YouTube, the other game that you and I both liked was Papers, Please.
Mm-hmm.
Right? And of course, Jackcepticeye made that world famous. And then PewDiePie played it. He did one recently.
And then Jackcepticeye played it again.
And he played it again. And another guy I listened to is a guy called Sips. He was in the Yogscast, and he also did it. And he's just like sarcastic and really funny. But yeah, those are the kinds of things that it just boosts the sales of all these games. It's really amazing.
I think. Did you hear the thing? So PewDiePie actually applied to work at Mojang.
In the beginning, yes.
Yeah. It's like, man. Now it's like, I wonder, I mean, they gotta have to like send him something or give him something to be helping him out so much. I know part of the opening screen that always has like a little saying. Yeah. Subscribe to PewDiePie popped up once in someone's.
Oh, cool. That's pretty cool.
Because it's always just some random saying. They got a whole list of scripts that are just running these different intros, and apparently subscribe to PewDiePie popped in there.
Cool. He's about what, 2 million away from 100 million, all right?
About 1 million, maybe.
About 1 million. No, good on him. Yeah. And then he's gonna do like a 12-hour Minecraft stream when he hits 100 million.
Yeah.
I think somebody should get him some help. I think he needs, Minecraft's Anonymous or something,
Well, the whole PewDiePie subreddit has turned into a Minecraft subreddit.
Oh, really? Yeah, I could imagine. I haven't been on Reddit in a while, but I could imagine.
Because you look at his stuff, like all the memes, everything is Minecraft related. Very rarely do you ever see anything non-Minecraft related.
Yeah.
It's always like, oh, look, like, so there's someone on the subreddit that's creating the PewDiePie mod pack.
Right.
And they're constantly updating it.
Cool.
Like, I mean, they took even the smallest details in the game and turned them into something that is
like PewDiePie
related. There was even something I didn't even know existed. I had to read up on it. If so, in the game, like you sleep, right? You sleep through the night and you wake up. That's how you like avoid having to do anything in the dark and surviving. Like you just sleep through it. If you don't sleep for 3 days in the game, there's a phantom that appears.
Really?
That will, like if you're outside, it'll straight up fly down and attack you. You can attack, obviously.
Oh, I've seen that. Yeah, I've seen that.
Yeah, kill it and get whatever special items it drops. Well, someone even took that, such a game mechanic you just never thought existed, and was like, make that into the sponsor eagle.
Right, brilliant.
Make this fish into, there's a Jackcepticeye fish, there's a Pewdiepie fish.
That's brilliant. That's brilliant. I mean, yeah, he's revolutionized. Well, he hasn't revolutionized, but I'm glad people are really getting into it. I saw his boss fight against PewDiePie, and he got the chair at the end. Can you do this? And he rocks back with the chair,
flies around, and I am excited. I'm a bit concerned about the whole End Dragon thing now, Ender Dragon, because that's a tough one.
Yeah, you need arrows for that, and you got remember the towers. You got to go to each tower and destroy the thing. I saw it once, and but
I found out though, what you can do is those crystals that like you destroy. Yeah. If the dragon flies near enough and you hit him, the explosion hurts him.
Oh, okay, interesting. Didn't know that.
So it's a quicker way to kill. Anyways, because I've seen people do like speed runs, so they seed a world where everything is super close to the spawn point.
Right. So they can.
And then they beat the game in like 4 minutes.
Interesting.
But
yeah, you've done it, Amos. You've convinced me. I'm going to download Minecraft, and I'm gonna. Let's see if I can make a Trinidadian flag. That might be pretty interesting. Yeah,
making an American flag will be tricky.
An American flag would be difficult.
Too many stars.
Yeah, the stars.
There is a Minecraft server that is a replica of the world.
Oh, the world. Yes. Okay.
So like, it's only like a few hundred people in there, but there's like cities that are built. Like someone tried to. So you go to New York City, obviously one of the bigger ones, and they have replicas of like certain famous streets, famous buildings.
Cool.
And it's just huge projects that people have undertaken to build replicas of these areas.
Kind of a waste, you don't think? Like,
huh?
I mean, it's kind of a waste, though. You're going to spend all this time building New York in a computer game. I don't know. People really don't have anything to do. This is definitely the age of decadence. What did you do today? Oh, I built New York for like 3 days.
I mean, I haven't even got into some of the really weird stuff in Minecraft that people have done.
Weird stuff in Minecraft? Is it
weird? Not in terms of like weird, like you can how much time it takes to do something.
Okay.
Like people, so there's something called the Farlands in Minecraft. So the map is supposedly infinite,
right?
Virtually. There is an edge.
Oh, really? Okay.
If you get to the edge, the whole like physics breaks apart.
I'd imagine
the game literally cannot handle it.
Right.
So it's called look up the Minecraft Farlands on YouTube and you'll see like I think they in like newer releases they basically removed it, but used to be you would get to a certain point and it would look like it looks like the edge of the world. It's literally just walls,
right,
with cracks in them. You can't go through these walls, but it's walls of like stone and water and dirt.
Yeah,
that is just all around.
Interesting.
If you try to go past there, your game's going to glitch out.
I'll check it out.
It's literally like hundreds of thousands of steps away.
Okay. I'll check it out. That sounds interesting. I'll at least on the YouTube I'll find some videos.
Used to be before people were modding it, it would take you literally nonstop in terms of days to walk there.
Huh. Okay. Interesting. But yeah, I'll say it, man. I mean, I think this laptop should be able to handle mine. My earlier one probably wasn't that good at it, so We'll see how it goes. But yeah, you've done it, Amos. You've convinced me. I'm gonna get it. We're gonna get was it Camtasia? We're gonna do a series, right? Yeah. Let's do it. Let's do it.
We're gonna go in creative mode, and then we're gonna make an entire 10K Rum podcast logo. People that do full blown pictures is ridiculous.
Yeah, pixel by pixel. It's pretty wild.
Someone took the because fucking Bunty King even got into Minecraft.
Is he doing Minecraft now? Bunty King?
He did it a little bit for a couple of his streams. But someone did a server where they did a pixel by pixel reconstruction of one of his like viral photos of him in his pants with no shirt on with a knife. You've seen that picture where he's just like looking all angry. Someone reconstructed that, and so they were like, "Hey," like they brought him onto the server and they couldn't see. He obviously couldn't see it. They're like, "Hey, come here, look at that," and he's just like, he's just laughing.
That's really crazy. Oh, it's cool, man. It's cool. Yeah. The gaming thing, I don't know why I didn't come up with this idea before. I really should have invented Twitch years ago, because I'm a big gamer, but I actually enjoy watching people play games. Right? I don't know, why that is. Like when my friends used to come over, they have back then like the Nintendo 64 and stuff like that. And yeah, I'd play a little Mortal Kombat, Street Fighter, that kind of stuff, Mario Kart. But really, I actually just liked watching it. It was just.
Someone was in someone else's house watching someone play video games and was like, what if everyone could do this?
Yeah.
Because you would always find out about like friends that would play a game that was really good at, and you were actually entertained watching them play.
Yeah, exactly.
And it's like, what if like other people could do this,
And it's become it's huge now. It's a multi-billion, well, I don't know, billion, but it's a huge market now. And even didn't they just do the Fortnite World Championship or some shit like that?
Every major game has some World Championship. Fucking, mobile handheld like tablet games are having World Championships. There's a Clash of Clans World Championship. There's a.
there can't be a Civilization. That's not quite. I don't think they do.
There could be. There's strategy involved.
Could maybe. But that's an amazing thing, because is it E3 is like the Olympics of gaming or something like that?
E3 is where it's more like it's like an expo game.
Okay, yeah, but I think there is some kind of esport something.
There'd be that there just as part of like.
Okay,
go check out these other things. But yeah,
So just think about that as a career, you can just be a gamer. Like now is the best time for anybody who wants to do that.
You remember when PewDiePie was on South Park?
Yes, yeah, I do.
I didn't even realize. I'm like thinking back. I'm like, oh shit, this guy was on like a big TV show. But it was like joking about like because PewDiePie was he was still pretty like. He's a different kind of guy, but just his personality was still very larger than life.
Yes.
The whole, PewDiePie, the whole thing, and all the kids were saying it in the episode, and then it's just like watching him play games, and then they like South Park basically threw a twist on it and said, "Oh, let's have Cartman, comment on people watching people play video games, like like an inception of Let's Plays, and."
Yeah.
People were more hooked on that, and basically Cartman became so popular that he was like ruling the world.
Right.
He could only appear in reality as that little side view, camera guy, webcam look on him. In reality, like he would just like start commentating on like scenes in the show, like breaking fourth wall kind of shit. And then in the very end, it was just actually PewDiePie won. Like basically they used PewDiePie to like fight back to take away Cartman's power. It was just some like weird thing, but it was to have like that basically becoming like a cultural thing.
He is a cultural icon.
But the Let's Play idea though.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Becoming popularized through people like him and others, and how that's just like that's what's as weird as it is, how it's kind of defining things. For him to do what he did, drop the N-word on a stream and
Yeah.
become this huge controversy that the Wall Street Journal was reporting on.
The
Really?
Wall Street Journal has become a trash heap.
But I
anyway.
mean, for like, for a paper like that to start reporting on something that, let's just
Obviously,
say the boomers are kind of like, kids watching kids play video games. What's this? Well, yeah, Wall Street Journal's talking about it.
Yeah. Yeah, it's quite a thing. It's an interesting world we're living in right now. Once upon a time, our parents used to tell us, put down the video games, you'll never make anything of yourself. And now it's kind of like, you should probably start playing the video games. Yeah.
I talked to someone last night who actually makes $20 a day setting up Minecraft spawners. So they basically set up so if you the little cages with the fire in it, the spawn these creatures. Yeah. If you set it up in a certain way, you can get them all to appear in a concentrated area, and you just go in there with your sword and swing. You just take all the experience points from it.
Right.
You farm it, and
someone
gets paid to make these for people.
Cool.
It's like, hey, I can't play my game right. Can you do this for me? Okay.
No. There's another game that was like that. One of these kind of virtual reality, kind of like The Sims, but it was a little more intense. And there was a woman.
Second Life.
Might be Second Life. Might be that. And there was a woman in there. She was an architect, and she would build people's houses for them.
We talked about this a while back. People making real money in Second Life.
Real money in Second Life. Yeah, that was pretty
She would design clothes, design furniture. Some people would design houses. And because the currency in the game could be converted into real money.
Correct. She was actually making her living doing exactly that. I think you're right. It was Second Life. I never played Second Life. It's not really my thing, but
Second Life's weird, in my opinion.
Did you? I mean, there was a movie about it though.
I think so. You had told me to watch that movie. It was a documentary.
It was a documentary.
It was talking about her as the furniture designer, her fashion designer.
Yeah.
And then the guy who was posing as a little girl.
Yes, he became a little girl in the game.
It was really messing with him too.
Yes. And then there was also the love affair that was online.
Oh, and then they met in person. That's right. You use that to tell me about long distance relationships.
I use that story to tell people about long distance relationships. So for our listeners and our viewers, I can't remember what the name of the documentary is. I must find it, but
I'll look it up now.
Yeah, it's all about these online relationships, and it was a married woman with kids started having this online Second Life avatar relationship with this other guy, and she literally divorced her husband, left, destroyed the family to go and be with this other guy, and then he turned out to be like a complete psychopath. At the end of the day, she ended up alone. And I keep trying to explain that to people. When it comes to long distance relationships, it's not real. It's something it's in your head, and your brain is going to fill in the gaps with the best of the best, because obviously you want to have all the endorphins and stuff like that. And a person could never live up to that reputation. And in her case, it literally destroyed her marriage. And yeah, I can't. Did you find it? Did you find
Life 2.0?
Life 2.0. That's it.
Do check it out, guys. Yeah, it's a really interesting look. I mean, it's from 2010, but the game is still pretty much the same. It basically just tackles, literally what the heck is wrong with. I mean, it's it's one thing to play Minecraft because it's so different from reality that the escape is just playing. Yeah, the escape is just playing a game.
Yeah.
Second Life has an allure to it that changes your perception of reality, because it's close enough that you being entirely honest. I played it for a couple hours once after I watched the documentary. Yeah. And I basically kind of being maybe not as introspective, but I just kind of re-examining the way I was feeling, how I was like responding to what I was playing or how I was seeing. I was like, yeah, I can see why people can get really drawn in, because it's you get drawn to a place where you can like literally kind of do whatever you want.
Yeah.
And it looks very much, it responds a lot of the things. Granted, there's a lot of like weird stuff in there that's not real, but it's the way it's perceived.
Oh yeah, definitely. In fact, yeah, go ahead.
Oh no, like I said, just reiterating the fact it's like Minecraft's completely not reality.
But it still sucks you in though, right? Like people
It
literally
sucks you in, I think, for different things. Like just playing a game. Like if I played Monopoly, but then if I'm playing Second Life, it's like the whole allure of it is giving you this like second life.
Oh yeah, no, totally get it.
Minecraft
totally.
isn't going to be a second life. Minecraft just gives, I just build shit. It's an adult version of Legos.
No, I agree. But Minecraft is a giant sandbox. Is basically the Second Life. I don't know. Maybe I should play it, but
no.
I mean, the thing about it is, this is what I try to explain to people. Your brain does not know the difference between what's real and what's not. It's the reason you can watch a horror movie and get legitimately scared, right? Even though it's not real and stuff like that. Like the VR porn that's like making the rounds right now, really, it could really mess with your brain, right? It could like, I think it's a big thing in Japan as well, and they're like people have stopped having sex because.
Are you speaking from experience, Brook?
I did get a VR headset, and I have to say the porn is fucking impressive. Yeah, it definitely adds a new dimension to things, but it's a legitimate thing where your brain cannot make that distinction, and I can see why that's very appealing. And I think like I was reading, one of these sex reports, and the dolls, and you don't even have to get like the whole sex doll. You can get just like parts of the doll and whatever. The sales of that has just like shot through the roof, right? And you couple that with the VR, you're in for a hell of a ride. Yeah, I feel sorry. I feel sorry for the women out there, man.
But yeah, man, that got a little dark there.
Is that dark?
No, not dark. Just
X-rated.
I shouldn't say dark. I shouldn't say dark. Grim. Talking about how people.
Well, people want an escape, and escapism is very addictive. It can be. Let me say that it can be addictive.
Yeah, I think what I was getting at was Minecraft doesn't give me like. Minecraft is like playing like a first-person shooter.
Correct.
You're not literally doing what's happening in the game. Whereas Second Life is purely a socializing game. So you're more. So it almost substitutes socializing, and then you start making connections with people that aren't real.
Correct.
Real people, not acting like real people. But no, yeah, it's just an interesting take. Yeah. Anyways.
Yeah, Brian is saying, the cost of getting sex and other things is it's too high. And I mean, especially young men today who they've basically been raised online. They really don't have the social skills to like meet women and other things like that.
But there is an upside. The smallest bit of social skills will get you very far.
Yeah, pretty much. As long as you can maintain eye contact and hold a conversation, you're pretty much getting laid. So, but yeah, it's pretty crazy out there.
Anyways, what was the other thing we were going to talk about?
My carniversary.
There is that. Actually, let's hold off on it. I just remembered something.
Sure.
So I was looking into. I know we talked about this last on Thursday. Did you? So have you heard anything about like the? So now Trump is kind of basically going back on some of his supposed conservative stances regarding Second Amendment rights.
Right. So he what is that about?
He's basically starting to. Well, he wants to institute some form of like. He wants to work with social media companies to find out people who are at risk for committing mass shootings. Yeah.
Okay.
Straight,
For those listening, my eyebrow just went up when you.
straight up pre-crime through social
Yeah.
media.
Yeah. I'm
And
always
it's funny. I just watched Minority Report.
right. Bracing yourself for this conversation.
Oh
So
yeah, no, I absolutely no connection between me watching the movie and all of a sudden this happening.
yeah.
No, he talked about that, and then he also talked about taking guns away from obviously like the mentally ill. I think there was so the couple of arguments that started coming up, so the things that are popping up now that make absolutely no sense is okay, I just responded to someone on Facebook basically saying like, it's a weird thing that how the mentally ill can have more access to firearms than to healthcare.
Okay.
And I basically corrected them. I said, affordability and accessibility are different.
Correct.
And the whole illness argument, Trump changed took away some regulations that I think had to do with old people and their rights to basically own guns.
Right. Yeah, I heard about that. That was an Obama era implementation where he basically said if you were kind of you weren't good at handling your money and stuff like that, where like at the point you might need like power of attorney for somebody else to kind of handle your affairs, you could not get a gun. And he reversed that and basically said, no, just because somebody can't handle their finances doesn't mean they don't have the right to protect themselves.
Right. So it had nothing to do with mentally ill, but if anything, it meant by whatever arbitrary definition, being competent with money and competent with self-defense are two different things.
Correct. Because I don't have a problem with what Trump did there.
But then they spun it into like, oh, mentally ill people can get guns now. Like, no.
No, that's not what it was.
No, it was, if anything, it was mentally old people can get guns.
Or keep the guns that they had. Because I think
right.
confiscation.
Also, I mean, trying to strengthen red flag laws is kind of bullshit too. He's kind of backing a little bit. Even
explain the red flag laws because we don't have that out here. I don't know what that is.
Wife goes to court, says my husband is dangerous. I don't think he should have his guns. Cops go take his guns away. Okay. He has to then go through a whole proceeding to basically prove he is competent to handle his guns.
Right. Okay. I see what you're saying.
Basically, temporary suspension or possibly indefinite suspension of your Second Amendment rights because of a red flag.
Right. Yeah. Okay.
And the red flag could just be anyone just, having a, looking at you funny. And then, of course, there's also these extremists that are extreme examples of trying to show like how ridiculous like people who carry are. So there's a picture of like an old lady at a grocery store with a holster with a revolver on her belt.
Right.
And she's getting bread at the grocery store.
Right.
And they're like, why the hell do you need this to go get bread at the grocery store?
She's an old lady.
She can.
Yeah. What reason that's completely on her. If she wants to do that as an old lady, I think that's fine.
I see it as cell phone defense. Defense with a cell phone is going to respond in about 5 to 10 minutes, depending on where you are.
Yeah.
Defense with a gun, right away.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I'm totally down for that. I mean, somebody was recently arrested in Missouri or something at a Walmart for open carrying. I think it was Missouri.
Possibly. I mean, yeah, open carry is making people all sorts of nervous because there's always going to be there's overreaction and then there's reaction to the overreaction. So a mass shooting happens. People overreact and think guns are icky and bad all around. And then as a reaction to the overreaction, basically, if you want to say gun nuts or gun loving people start open carrying more to basically say, screw you.
Right.
This is my right.
Absolutely.
In a totally legal sense though.
Yeah.
Most people are totally legally, but because the overreaction of the left is so, tensions are running so high, they'll call on anyone who's open carrying. So cops then are obligated to have to go through the whole process. Do you have a right to carry? We have to make sure you're safe. We have to do a whole check on you, make sure you're all good. Okay, you're good. And then it just sets back everyone's day just because a guy. And then of course, you get these one picture of some guy with an AR-15 strapped on his back walking into a Starbucks.
Right.
And people have a picture and they're like, oh my gosh, this is the America we live in. It's like, yeah, because that one guy that you found exists everywhere in America.
Yeah, every fucking Starbucks has got these guys. It's just
we have lining
up for the drinks.
Minnesota, I don't think is an open carry; it's a concealed carry.
Yeah, I think that's going nationwide though. I think Trump is kind of pushing that federally, which I think is a good idea.
But it's like, I don't have I don't have any problem going out there and just people having a gun with them, minding their own business.
No, I agree. I mean, I never understood let's get into it in terms of the leftist argument and the harpies that are screeching about gun control. I don't know if you've seen Joe Biden's interview where I think he's talking to, I can't remember, one of these CNN talking heads. And he basically said, well, the interviewer was like, what would you say to these people who think you're coming for their guns? And he's like, we are, if you've got an assault rifle. Or like an assault weapon, he called it. And of course, as we know, an assault weapon is basically any kind of fucking gun that's out there, right?
I've got these assault wire clippers.
Yeah, I got an assault bottle of water. It's pretty tasty.
Okay, you know what, though? That could actually be an assault weapon in your country. This is cool.
Even though let's put it in the camera. Yeah, even though you're exactly right. If I actually had intent to use this to like defend myself, this is an assault weapon. So that's
this. We don't have that categorization here. Like, this is still a tool here.
Yeah, exactly.
That's an actual weapon over there. That's how fucked up you guys.
You're really backwards with that whole thing. But this is the argument I never understood.
Assault weapon. No.
For those listening, you just put up a wine opener.
A wine opener. Yeah, this is an assault weapon. I mean, look at this thing.
Yeah. Look at that contraption, man. Just don't put it on the wrong hole. All right, okay. So yeah, what I was saying is like, okay, all right, let's say, when the mass shooting happens, and of course the leftist, brain syphilis people all start screaming, oh, Second Amendment is, we need to repeal it, and we need to take away the guns. Guns are bad. Guns are killing people. Guns make me feel scared. And it's all guns, right? One mass shooting, two mass shootings, and as terrible as those things are, they want to instantly go for all the guns. They want to repeal the Second Amendment, and they give all of these excuses. All right. But then at the same time, when a whole, like a couple Mexican drug dealers and gang members start, fucking around in South California or whatever the case might be, they don't apply that same logic. It's, so if it's guns, it's all guns bad. But Mexican gangs or Islamic terrorism, they don't apply that same standard. It'll be like, no, not all Muslims. No, not all Mexicans and stuff like that. And they can't do that balancing act when it comes to guns. And it's the same argument. It's like, not all gun owners are going to go up and shoot up any kind of place.
So the meme now is trying to label all white people as like white terrorists, like the domestic terrorists, white people. All the mass shooters are white people. I found something put up somewhere showing, like, by the definition of like some people's mass shootings, I think it's like 4+ people shot in an event.
Yeah, is a mass shooting, and most of that is gang related.
They showed all the pictures of all the people in the past like 200 like mass shootings.
Yeah,
it wasn't white people.
No, it's not,
and it wasn't Asian people.
There was an Asian. There was an Asian in that list.
In terms of majority.
Just saying.
So
you start doing your part. I'm just saying. You're adding to white supremacy, Amos.
So, and of course the other meme is, and it's funny, the meme has basically been shortened to one word.
Yeah.
Despite.
Oh, really?
The meme? The despite meme?
don't know. No, I don't think I've actually seen any.
Despite making 15% of the population, Black people,
Oh, right.
African
Okay.
Americans account for over 50% of all violent crime in the U.S. That is an actual true statement. But because it's been recited so many times, the meme just becomes the one word "despite."
Right. I didn't see that. I haven't seen that.
I mean, it's a bit of a shit posting thing. Like people will just like, they'll straight up like whether it's a joke. So granted, don't everyone freak out. It's a joke, and then but someone will just talk about like they'll talk about Detroit, and they'll just like throw up despite, and then it's just people like call if you want to call it a dog whistle, yeah, it's just a fucking joke. It's funny because it's both true, but it's also repeated so much that it's kind of a joke.
Yeah. It's lost its relevancy. I mean, let's be real. We've been hearing these harpies and everybody screaming. All of it has lost meaning. Nazi, white supremacist, transphobic, Islamophobic, and all this other nonsense. Nobody takes that shit on anymore. Nobody's listening to anybody saying that. And it's just gotten more and more extreme as the mainstream media is dying in its death rattle, just to try and get the clicks, to get the ad revenues coming in. And I mean, seriously, who's taking any of that seriously anymore? Nobody. So yeah, it's all of these arguments and all of this bickering and all of this fighting and basically everything that's on Twitter. It's all garbage, it's just noise at this point, and nothing is actually being done.
Yeah, I mean, and it's all Trump's fault.
Orange man bad.
I miss the days when it was Obama's fault.
Yeah, well, Obama could do no wrong, apparently.
And then I miss it before that when it was Bush's fault.
Yeah, only the Republicans get blamed. That's the American way, apparently. So
the meme basically for every president is it's that president's fault for something.
The previous president.
The previous one or the one that is president now. It's Trump's fault, whatever's happening now. It's Obama's fault, whatever's happening back then. Yeah. And it was Bush's fault, whatever happened before that.
Yeah. That's pretty much. I'll give a new president 2 years, because you do have to kind of adjust from a previous administration. So some of it can spill over.
That's 3 years. He's in his third year now, though.
Yeah, so this year Trump owns everything, right? And he's doing all right. I think I quite like what he's doing, especially kicking Europe in their nuts, or mangina, or whatever it is. Yeah.
Libertarians got to give me a better candidate if they want my vote, because they're not giving me a good candidate this year for this coming year. Well, they're still working on that. There's still debates and nominations and stuff. But one of the front runners is Kim Ruff and John Phillips. Kim Ruff, presidential candidate. John Phillips, VP candidate. I met John Phillips before. Really stand-up guy. Really nice guy. Really passionate about libertarianism, but just not. I mean, obviously not Gary Johnson level of like notoriety, like a guy that is going to get on the news. Well, it's a girl now, that's the president's candidate, but someone who just like sticks out.
Right.
If you looked at the 2016 presidential election, like the candidates for that, do you know who some of the front runners were?
2016, we had
Libertarians.
Yeah, I liked. Oh God, what's my guy's name? McAfee. He was running.
John McAfee. So John McAfee, still pretty popular as a guy, just as a meme almost.
Yeah.
And then you had Austin Peterson, who kind of was in the line, kind of in the spotlight too, because of he switched Republican for the Senate race, but then switched back Libertarian for the presidential race.
Sure.
Whatever he did there. And then of course Johnson. And then you had a couple of the guys, but I mean, it was just, you had people that had some exposure to sort of like the mainstream.
Right.
The candidates that are out there now, just, who?
Unknowns, right? I mean
the closest thing you have to a possible candidate that is running for president, and I don't get why, it's probably just as a complete troll, is Vermin Supreme.
Right. Okay. Yeah, I know. I know.
The Libertarian Party has allied with the Vermin Supreme.
Right.
Probably pretty, stand up, honest kind of guy, but just, this is going to be the election that the Libertarian Party is a legitimate joke.
If that's what they're doing, yeah, because I think the Libertarian Party and possibly the Greens might actually, because of the court case from 2016, they might actually make an appearance in the debates,
which is nice too.
which is, I mean, that's huge. It gives real national exposure to the parties.
Right. National exposure is good, and I think that's great. I just would like someone who can like
do a good job representing the ideology.
Yeah, like, and not just be an autist. All right. Autist. I'm not making fun of autistic people, everyone. I'm just saying, for anyone who knows anything about like online, when you talk about like autistic people, like people that are basically, I guess, I don't know what would be the proper term. Like, it's not meant to be mean. It's like if someone's like autistic, like they're devoid of having the ability to like be having emotional IQ, like emotional intelligence. Yeah, I mean, presidential candidates tend to have a relatively good understanding of emotional intelligence, that they can like be persuasive and sound be persuasive and sound good.
Sure.
To present their ideas, no matter how good or bad they are.
Yeah, I completely agree. I think, and let's just be real. The United States president is generally elected by charisma, not necessarily on the issues.
That's the thing. Yeah. And so a libertarian candidate that's just going to spew, government bad, libertarianism good, it's not going to win anyone over. It's just like, well, that's just, because you're going to come across as cold and detached.
Correct.
Facts don't care about your feelings, but in this case, you need some feelings to back your facts.
I mean, this is the whole problem with the right, generally speaking. All right, we've got the facts, we've got the economists, we've got all of these different things, but the left has the heart. They know how to play the emotional, game, and that's kind of what's winning out. So the right has to learn that game. And definitely getting better. I think we're starting to see that now.
Well, they play a little bit of the fear in there too, though.
Right, that's an emotion, right? And so let's be real. Some people have legitimate concerns about certain things that maybe, you should be at least concerned about. But elections are an emotional game. Aristotle used to talk about. I don't know if you've read The Republic, but he talked about this when he said democracy is a terrible way to determine leadership, because if you have a doctor and like a candy salesman, like let's just say an ice cream salesman, both of them running for office, how do you convince the people to vote for the doctor, who's obviously more qualified? The candy person is going to be like, you want to vote for this guy? He pokes you and prods you, and he gives you things to swallow that taste nasty, and all this other kind of stuff. Vote for me because I will give you nice sweets and nice ice cream and all that kind of stuff. And the doctor, even though he's hurting his patients for their good, that's almost an impossible position to defend.
Yeah. So you're going to get some. Yeah, the 2020 is going to be an interesting election, as is pretty much every election is interesting.
Who do you think will be the Democratic candidate out of who you have now? Who do you think it'll be, and then who will you hope it'll be?
It's going to be either Warren or Biden.
No, I think Warren is out, man. I don't think she's dropping in the polls.
Really?
I think it might be Biden. I think kind of it's his turn.
Kamala's out. Warren out.
I mean, I could be wrong. Warren she has some diehard fans, but
then again, Biden did say poor people can be just as smart as white people.
Yeah, I saw that. I hope it's Biden, because it's going to be gaffe after gaffe after gaffe. It's going to be hilarious. I will just sit there with my popcorn and enjoy the train wreck, right?
Biden, actually, there's so many.
Yeah, there are. You don't want Yang. Like, if you could pick one, who would you pick to be it?
I was about to say Marianne Williamson. We need more crystals in the White House. No.
Just math? Are we being Breaking Bad from the White House? Come on.
No, because she's all about like, I mean, she's like bordering on like freaking healing crystals and shit.
I've seen a couple couple interviews. She probably is on meth.
So yeah. I mean, the libertarians are really liking either Yang or Tulsi. I know that.
Yeah, on individual issues, they like the UBI and they like the anti-war.
Well, the UBI more for accelerationist purposes, just watch the whole thing burn, and then the anti-war is just strictly anti-war, and it's like, forget all the socialist policies she wants to enact, just anti-war, and it's like, really, we're gonna go so hard on anti-war,
yeah,
that we're just gonna forget that she's still a Democrat.
I mean, there's nothing wrong with being a Democrat. It's just, do you have to be a fucking communist? Like,
mean, if the hardline, excuse me, if the hardline members of the Democratic Party are full-blown socialists,
yeah,
then what is this the more centrist type going to be? The more center-leaning Democrat's going to be. They're still going to want like a little bit of socialism.
No, I agree. And the problem with what's going on in all politics around the world, right? It's basically exchanging money for votes, which is kind of the Democratic MO, right? And everybody's just offering free stuff on the backs of the taxpayers.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, it sounds appealing. Free healthcare sounds really appealing, right? Free education, it sounds so good. It's just
Tulsi Gabbard looks really appealing. What?
There you go.
Well, that's the thing, is they were like, being bangable doesn't make you presidential. And I'm like, oh my gosh. Like, this is actually considered, because
hey, I voted for somebody once just because they were hot. Yeah, there's nothing wrong with that. I didn't give a shit about anything else. I had my reasons, but
who and when?
Watch this person in politics. It wasn't a prime minister. It was like a government, like a local government. And I said, if I have to put up and watch somebody, at least she's easy on my eyes. She had no other endearing qualities, but she was hot. So it's like, yeah, I'll go with that.
Yeah, people are, because she's from Hawaii, she's kind of mixed, she's got this, and of course, because she was in the military, she's in shape.
Yes.
So then they're just like, oh yeah, well, I liked her.
Sure. There are a lot of people voting on those same lines.
The hottest president.
John F. Kennedy won the presidency by looking pretty good. He
was going in it head first to look good, though. I mean, the first televised presidential debate.
Yeah, he had
to throw out the best looking guy.
Yeah, they and definitely the Democrats got that game pretty quick. And I think even down to the conventions, when you used to watch, not the recent ones are just a huge spectacle, but the earlier ones, the minute it was on television, you can see the Democrats went ahead, they made it into a show and all these things, and the Republicans they came to it eventually. But now it's a goddamn circus, man. When all the optics and the lighting, the stage, it's just bullshit.
Speaking of conventions, did you hear about this one convention that happened this last week?
No.
The Democratic Socialists of America convention.
Oh, it's jazz hands because you can't clap. It triggers.
You can't do this either. You gotta do.
Oh, it's just just one finger in the air.
Point of privilege. Amos Joseph, he, him. I have concerns, comrades, that your incessant laughing and bickering and hissing, heckling in the background is triggering my sensory overload. And I'm like, oh my! Like, I heard this so many times, I actually got it down.
That was
point of privilege. State their name, state the pronouns, and then state the And then they said, point of privilege. Don't refer to us with gendered language, because he said guys
in the beginning. Like guys, I want you to keep the banter to the thing. It's triggering my anxiety or whatever it is. And then the next guy's like, Can we not use gendered languages? And the man sounded like he was about to have a heart attack.
Yeah, he's got a burger halfway down his artery.
That was insane. Yeah, if the revolution comes, those people will be the first to go.
And that's what they don't get. They think like real, like full-blown communism is just this peaceful transition.
No. No.
Like literally the weakest people in society get culled.
I mean, when Marx wrote about communism, the idea was it was supposed to be a peaceful transition. It was a natural evolution of capitalism.
Right.
So he believed, we will evolve to this point. There would be the collapse, and then society will just reorganize organically.
And even some people who will interpret it this way, and which I was trying to tell our mutual friend who lives here.
Yeah.
I
know who that is.
It's one thing to say you want socialism or communism or democratic socialism.
Yeah.
Those words should not be used when talking about what he was talking about, and I think what Marx was wanting was a stateless form of communism or socialism.
Correct. It was a nameless, a classless, moneyless, communal,
which is income, anarcho-communism,
but
or
no property either. So it was communal in that respect.
Which could even breaking down to things like mutualism, or
possibly,
mutualism, or just some form of anarchy, like voluntarism, where the community agrees on a set of rules, which will include, of course, no property rights. Everything is, whether that's actually going to work, which historically is shown to never work. Even in a voluntary sense, it doesn't work.
Correct.
Because you will still get people that will like not do the work. I think so. Yeah, that's the thing is, remember, what was it? When the first colonists came over, they actually instituted kind of like a voluntary society.
Yeah, all the food that was grown was communal. The colony nearly starved.
Yeah, like half the people died off, and so then they instituted like a more like free market kind of capitalistic system, and people started to thrive.
Correct.
People specialized, did their own thing, and everyone prospered. So yeah, it's just, but it's like, that's the difference. It's like, okay, if a group of people who have a genuine good heart to like work together, put forth an effort, and have these strong convictions to be communally like giving to each other, do that. But when you throw out words like socialism, communism, democratic socialism, stuff like that, the what people are going to hear, and what typically, like almost always the case, is government does it.
Exactly.
Which is worse than any voluntary system could ever screw up. The voluntary system might or might not screw up, but at least it's contained. It's people that agreed upon these terms. With government, no one fucking agrees. If anything, the majority agrees, and then by the time that majority changes its mind, you're fucked.
Yeah, exactly. And it's even worse than that, because, and this is something I guess the left doesn't understand. You assume that government is working in the interest of the people. It's fucking not. It's not working in the interest of anybody except
it's working in the interest of power and the money they collect from the people.
Correct. It works in the interest of the rich and powerful who can lobby the government to work on their behalf.
But that's capitalism.
It's crony capitalism. But they never take that into account. They never take that into account. They just believe that the government is going to be benevolent, like it's run by Mother Teresa's. And just the idea of somebody wanting to be in power gives you an idea of the kind of narcissistic mental disorders that probably take place to get to those positions.
What was it like? Claiming power in the name of saving like the world.
Yeah.
Is like the worst type of like tyranny or something. So like
tyranny, exactly.
Yeah, like people like what was the Green New Deal? Saving the world.
Yeah. And to do that, you basically got to destroy everything that exists today, right? So
in the name of saving the world, which is worse. It's just like, what?
And right after you destroy everything, who's going to rebuild it? So it's ultimately destruction.
Even if you do elect Mother Teresa to be your benevolent dictator, Mother Teresa's going to be dead soon, but and when she does die, definitely not going to be Mother Teresa. I don't know, but I mean, definitely not going to be Mother Teresa that gets elected again.
No, it never is. People have this idea that government works for the people, and it doesn't. It works for the rich and powerful. It always has, and it always will. Right? I think Hobbes actually said that the only form of government that might limit that was direct monarchy. Right? Which was because the king doesn't want to fuck up the economy because he wants the money. He is probably not going to do too much to fuck it up and fuck with the people. But the minute you have like big, like what you basically federal government and all these other types of things, people with power and money going to influence it all along the way. And on the point of bringing up the socialism and stuff like that, the definitions of these things are so jaded right now. I did a video about this on my YouTube channel, like capitalism, corporatism, and I did socialism. And when I was doing the research for that, I've never read Karl Marx, not the whole thing. I got through a lot of it, but it was killing me. And there are so many renditions, right? Trotskyism, Maoism, because when they saw the failings in Russia, they changed it. So the idea was, okay, yes, the state will control everything. It was originally supposed to be the workers. The workers own everything and they control it, like a co-op, which is what exists in the capitalist system today. What we have now at this democratic socialism isn't even remotely connected to what Marx was suggesting at all. It has nothing to do with the original ideas of what he was spewing. And it basically comes down to government control. And we never used to call that socialism. We just called it government programs, right? That's just what it was. And now they're trying to rename, oh, you get the post, you get mail, that's socialism. You got the police, that's socialism. And
what they had back then was state capitalism. That's a new one that I heard.
Yeah, that's that one as well. Yeah, the Nazis had that.
State capitalism. They say, oh, the Chinese had that. I'm like, well, what is that? Oh, the state becomes the company, and I'm like, what?
Right? Yeah. Well, that's what goes on in China, where if you have a company that's successful, the state will come in and take basically half ownership. And how the Nazis did it is you were allowed to own the property or the business or whatever, as long as it was in line with the national goals, right? Of whatever, right? Those are the two forms of state capitalism. And both of them are shit. So
state capitalism, also known as authoritarianism.
Yeah, because it's as always, when there's money involved, the government never keeps its hands off it. It always grows and creeps. And I mean, the founder of Alibaba, I can't remember his name.
Jack Ma.
Right. Okay. He just joined the Communist Party. He has nothing in common with the Communist Party. But if he didn't do it, they were going to fucking take his company and they're going to kick him out.
He's a billionaire.
He's a fucking billionaire. He has resources and he's got to toe the line.
I mean, you want to talk about how our communists here are millionaires. China has communists that are billionaires.
Yeah. Exactly.
Like, if you're not understanding that communism and capitalism can both equally have cronyism, where you have individuals with basically money and power, and then join in on the agenda and completely corrupt, whatever principles, corrupted the principles that these parties are supposed to stand for.
Yeah.
People don't see that. They're just, oh, well, he's a billionaire and he's joining such a benevolent party. No, he's literally has to give up all a big chunk of his wealth.
Yeah.
So he doesn't get fucking suicided twice in the back of the head.
Yeah. A Clinton suicide. Well, you're absolutely right. Yeah. I mean, I wouldn't say that. I mean, I hate to say it. It's a cliche. Communism has never been tried, kind of thing. The closest attempts that we've had of it has all failed. But as you say, it always produces a wealthy elite that are part of the party. So the party members are doing well. Even in Venezuela, the party members are all fed. The party members all have toilet paper. The military is taken care of because, this is where you're getting your food. So you ain't turning on us. Cuba is the same thing. The ruling party, very well off. In fact, I think when Castro died and they assessed his net worth. It was like 3 or 4 billion US dollars or something ridiculous. Yeah, that worked out really good for the people. It's like when it comes to power and money, corruption is inevitable.
But Brook, think about all the women.
Go to Dubai. Go to Thailand, man.
Have you seen the memes people use of the pictures of Hitler with all his women?
No, I haven't.
Oh, it's so funny. It's literally like there's pictures where it's like okay, there's pictures of like Hitler with like just women's like tits all around him.
Sweet.
And he's like so his hand is like caressing one, and then it says like, when you got all the bitches, but you still want to invade Poland. It's like something like that. And it's just like,
I'm trying to imply he didn't get enough sex. That's why he started World War II.
He straight up has a freaking like boob in his hand, and he still looks like, the maniac that he was, just like thinking about, taking over the world and the Aryan race. And I'm like, Jesus, dude. That's like a whole other level.
I mean, I'm sure there's shit like that going on right now at Google and all these other places, right? I mean, you got all the money in the world. You could get any girl you want. There's probably ridiculous orgies and eyes wide shut conventions that are taking place all over. You got all the drugs you can snort and eat and like inject and stick up your ass and other things, and you want more. That's pretty crazy, man. That's pretty crazy.
And then one day you decide to tell on some of these people, and then you get suicided in the back of the head.
Exactly. Yeah. Exactly. Stamped with, signed Clinton,
All those memes, picture of the last known visitor of the Epstein jail cell, and it's like Hillary Clinton with a mustache and sunglasses.
Yeah, the memes are maybe we should do like an entire episode just looking at great memes, right? Like a meme review.
Meme review. Anyways, we're a little bit over on time. Over on time. This is actually a really good episode. I'm surprised we were really enjoying this one.
Definitely.
This was our 64th episode, and just to remind everyone, today is not Thursday. Today is Sunday. Sundays aren't Thursdays, but Thursdays aren't Sundays either. So 64. We are 5 away from 69.
Got to do something for 69.
And we're quite a few away from 420.
Yes. Yes, that's going to be by the time we get there, weed will be legal in England and I'll smoke a joint on the stream.
420, let's see. It's a couple years.
About 8 years.
We're still at, what?
Oh, no.
Even if we're doing twice a week?
2 shows. So, probably 2 years, maybe. We'll see.
Just crank out a whole bunch of shows. We got to get to 420. Anyways, everyone do check out our previous episodes. We are of course on iTunes and Google Play and other podcasting platforms that are provided through Podbean. You can also download the Podbean app and check us out there. Subscribe to the YouTube channel. Check out other episodes there. We'll also be putting out we put out video clips on the Facebook page. Check us out on Facebook, of course. And as you see below our names, you have our Twitter handles at Amos Joe and then at Brook_Potter there. So thank you everyone for joining us. We will see you guys, of course, on now. Do we want to say who's maybe coming out on Thursday?
Let's wait and see. Let's
hold off.
Yeah,
we'll just say it might be someone everyone kind of knows we're having on. But
yes.
Not the man himself, but he might be sick. We don't know.
Well, he's sick now.
I mean, he was freaking dying. So
he didn't even make his show.
His own show. That's the thing. Did you see the video?
Which one?
The actual live stream video they do.
I saw it. Yeah.
Yeah, he's like in the background, just like he's looking pissed with a face mask on, like running my show.
Hope he feels better. Hopefully we'll have him on the show. That's going to be a lot of fun.
All right, guys. But yeah.
Thanks for watching, everyone.
Yep. We'll see you guys on Thursday. And